This girl, looking really nice, was at a school event. She kept looking for her dad in the crowd, not knowing when he was on his way there. He had been in a car accident. When the event was over, Lotta still hadn't seen him. Just as she was hoping to win first prize, her teacher told her dad was in an accident and in the hospital. The driver who hit him took him to the hospital too. Her stepmother and her daughter, son, rushed to the hospital too. The driver's name was Tane. The stepmother criticized his driving and was worried he'd run away, so she asked him for his ID to prove he'd take responsibility. Tane gave her a business card, but she didn't believe it was real until she saw the hotel name on it and realized Tane was the hotel manager. She totally changed her attitude and quickly apologized to Tane. Then, she immediately started criticizing her husband. "You shouldn't look at your phone while driving." When Lotta rushed to the hospital, her stepmother immediately pretended to be worried. Seeing Lotta dressed so nicely, she still took some selfies. Tane heard Lotta's name and remembered Lotta and her father's message. "If I don't make it, please take care of Lotta." He realized she was the Lotta he'd been told about. He never imagined those words would come true. Lotta's dad had passed away. Hearing the news, Lotta fainted. When she woke up, Lotta told her sister she dreamt of her dad dying. Her sister gently told her it wasn't a dream. Her dad was really gone. Lotta looked at her father's body, heartbroken, unable to believe it. Dad, wake up. Weren't you supposed to watch my competition? You said you wanted to see me dressed up." When she learned Tane was the one who hit her father, she went crazy and attacked him, pouring out all her anger. Her stepmother stopped her, telling her not to be rude to Tane and that the accident was her father's fault. Tane went home, burdened by the accident's aftermath. He couldn't attend his daughter's school event. His daughter, seeing him, said angrily, "All my friends have their moms and dads here, but I still haven't seen mine." She thought he was lying. Tane explained he wasn't lying, that the accident kept him from coming. But she didn't believe him. She said, "If Mom was still here, she would definitely be here too. Mom died because of you, Dad." Tane didn't know how to explain it to the child. The situation between father and daughter was becoming very tense. Things got easier when Mon, an old friend of her ex-wife, came and comforted the child. Her intentions were more than just comforting, it was obvious. She asked the child if she loved her, and got a pleasing response. She placed a photo of Tane face down, and left. She pleaded with Tane to let her stay. Her plan seemed clear. Tane didn't want her to stay, feeling it would make a bad impression, but eventually, under her pressure, he agreed. Meanwhile, the stepmother looked at the $300,000 baht Tane gave for the funeral and started dreaming of a huge settlement later. She repeatedly thanked Tane and asked her daughter to dress nicely at the funeral. She clearly had a plan. Lotta looked at her father's photo and couldn't stop crying thinking about the person who caused the accident. She was even angrier. Tane was in the garden, thinking about the day when he heard a voice like someone calling him. He startled awake and was about to leave when he saw Lotta's father's spirit, repeatedly asking him to take care of Lotta. He knew the father was worried about his daughter, and his guilt grew. The next day, Lotta and her family were on their way to the funeral when a thief stole the stepmother's purse. They all chased after him. A motorcyclist joined the chase. After a chaotic pursuit, he caught and subdued the thief. Lotta's sister, Sun, was impressed by the man's handsome appearance and confident actions. At the funeral, the stepmother tried to win over Tane in every way possible. Only Lotta didn't want to see the person who caused the accident, who killed her father. Lotta was completely consumed by hatred. Even though everyone said it was an accident, she wouldn't listen. She only thought about getting revenge. She started by spilling coffee on Tane, but he didn't care about such childish tricks. Tane felt helpless and said that as long as Lotta felt she'd gotten her revenge, he would accept whatever she did. While Tane went to the restroom, he saw a group of thugs talking to the stepmother. It turned out that Lotta's father owed them money, and they had come to collect. Since her father was dead, they wanted to know how to proceed with the debt. They said they would take the house if the debt wasn't paid, as agreed. On the way home, Tane had to change a tire on the highway. Turns out Lotta had punctured his tire. Tane was helpless, thinking this girl was really stubborn. The next day, Tane's brother, Tai, heard about it and decided to attend the funeral with him. That evening, they found out the man who helped them catch the thief the day before was Tai, Tane's brother, who was a police officer. Tai noticed his brother was good at comforting girls, so he decided to come along. When Sun met Tai, she was happy. The stepmother, knowing Tai was Tane's brother, tried to ingratiate herself with him. Tai approached Lotta in a friendly way, and unexpectedly, Lotta liked his straightforward personality. Tane was surprised to see his brother quickly bond with Lotta. But on the way home, Tai was stared at by a group of people with strange looks, who kept whispering. When he got out of the car, he was shocked to see colorful paper decorations stuck all over his car. Tai was furious, while Tane just stood there laughing. Tai realized he'd been tricked. The next day, Lotta wasn't done. While Tane was driving everyone home, she prepared some frogs and put them in the car. Her stunt almost caused an accident. Looking at the frog-filled car, Tai was so angry he wanted to talk to Lotta. The stepmother, wanting to gain favor, asked Lotta to apologize. However, Lotta said her minor actions couldn't compare to her father's death. She criticized the stepmother. "Why aren't you sad or angry about your husband's death? Instead, you're taking money and apologizing to the man who caused my father's accident." The stepmother considered Lotta insulting her and angrily confronted Lotta. But she stubbornly refused to apologize and coldly left. Tane wasn't comfortable letting her go out alone at night, so he followed her. Unexpectedly, when he reached her house, Lotta fainted from shock and exhaustion. Tane caught her, calling her name, wanting her to wake up. Her father had just died, and her cruel stepmother wanted her to quit school and work. Lotta hadn't eaten or drank for days because of her father's passing, and finally, she passed out. Her stepmother didn't want to pay to take her to the hospital. In the end, Tane took her to the hospital. Luckily, Lotta had a kind sister, though she was the stepmother's daughter. She had a good heart. She looked after Lotta all night and patiently encouraged her to be strong. The next day, the stepmother brought Lotta's favorite bouquet of chocolates to the hospital. She even took selfies with Lotta. The daughter saw through the mother's intentions. The bouquet was bought by Tane and given to Lotta through the stepmother. The stepmother also demanded the hospital expenses from Tane. The daughter condemned her mother's actions. However, stubborn as she was, the stepmother simply viewed it as a matter of course. These expenses would be deducted from the compensation owed to her family. Looking at Lotta's photos on social media, Tane felt pleased. He went to visit her at the hospital and unexpectedly found Lotta struggling to go to the bathroom herself. He wanted to help, but Lotta refused, wouldn't let him touch her, and didn't want to talk. He wanted to take her out for food, but she told him not to bother. Tane had no choice but to tell Lotta about how her father had asked him to take care of her before he passed. Lotta couldn't believe it, but to get to the truth, she agreed to have a meal with him. Tane told her father's final words. Thinking about her father's worry for her, even in his final moments, Lotta was overcome with emotion. Her father was the only one who loved her, and now he was gone. Her future felt uncertain. She was heartbroken. Tane tried to comfort her, telling her to cry until she was done. Lotta felt a little touched, but she still couldn't believe her father would entrust a stranger to care for her. She thought Tane was deceiving her. The next morning, Lotta remained distant, despite Tane's attempts to befriend her. What Tane didn't know was the source of the tension between father and daughter was the woman constantly caring for Lotta. This woman, eager to get close to Tane, deliberately created a rift between father and daughter, then used the opportunity to care for the child and visit the family frequently. On the day of the funeral, the stepmother faked grief and fainted, further increasing Tane's guilt. He also noticed a man with Lotta and asked his brother to investigate him, hoping to compensate for Lotta's loss. Tane offered to sponsor her college education until graduation. However, the stepmother said Lotta didn't want to continue her studies and demanded Tane pay the entire amount at once. Tane wanted to talk to Lotta, but the stepmother, not getting her desired outcome, angrily scolded him. Lotta, feeling powerless, said she didn't want her sister to drop out of school and would work to afford it. The stepmother had to find Lotta and tell her the family had no money for her education. Lotta, always a good student, wanted to get into college and said she'd work and take care of the tuition, so her mother didn't have to worry. To convince Lotta to give up, the stepmother pulled out a loan agreement, lying that her father had borrowed money to pursue his passion for football. Lotta remembered her father's love of football and believed the stepmother, without knowing the money, was actually borrowed by the stepmother to save her from her debts. Lotta, with no other choice, signed the loan agreement. Meanwhile, the cunning stepmother began her next act. Lotta refused Tane's help and went out to find work, but got distracted and almost got hit by a car. Thankfully, Tane saved her. Lotta ran away, dropping her phone. The stepmother, knowing Lotta had a job as a preschool teacher, looked down on the low salary and told Lotta to pursue a PR job. Lotta said she loved being a teacher. Meanwhile, Sun, delivering pastries to a supermarket, ran into Tai again. As they were talking, a haughty woman arrived and criticized Sun's pastries as unhygienic. Sun calmly replied that the pastries were all homemade and perfectly safe. She wasn't interested in an argument. After learning Sun was just a casual acquaintance of Tai, the woman quickly dragged him away. Sun felt a distance growing between herself and Tai and was a bit disheartened. Meanwhile, Tai discovered the man who frequently contacted the stepmother. He was a gangster involved in criminal activities that the police were investigating. Tane realized Lotta's situation was very dangerous. He watched his brother grow up and wanted to bring his brother and Lotta together, but his brother wasn't interested in a girl like Lotta at all. His brother even teased, "I think I know someone who is perfect for her." Tane was surprised, asking if there was someone better. His brother denied it, saying, "Just look in the mirror." Tane yelled, "You must be crazy. How could you think of such a thing?" The girl was over a decade younger than him. His brother quickly denied it, saying he didn't feel anything for her, but he just felt sorry for her. The brother continued teasing, saying love often starts with sympathy. Tane immediately stopped his brother's rambling. After his ridiculous ideas, the brother quickly ran away. The uncle scolded his nephew about those strange thoughts, but then couldn't control himself and flipped through photos of Lotta. Lotta still decided to be a preschool teacher. On her first day, she encountered Tane's mischievous daughter, but Lotta didn't know she was Tane's daughter. It turned out that the deceitful ex-wife's friend, the manipulative woman, with the desire to move into Tane's house, had instructed Cal to intentionally cause trouble at school. The girl refused to read or write. Lotta tried to help her, but a senior teacher pulled her aside. She warned Lotta that she couldn't do that with the school students because they were all from wealthy families. Cal, witnessing the scolding, made a face at Lotta. Meanwhile, the thugs found the stepmother and threatened to use Lotta to pay off the debt if the money wasn't paid. It turned out that Lotta's father, knowing the thugs' intentions, worried about her. The two were planning something. That day, Tane returned Lotta's phone. The stepmother tried to match them up, inviting him to dinner. Lotta was unhappy, even wanting him to leave. Tane saw the young girl before him, but he said he wanted to experience the food. He praised Sun's cooking skills, even eating 2 large bowls. Knowing Sun always delivered pastries to the supermarket, he invited her to work as a chef in his hotel. Sun, dreaming of becoming a chef, was thrilled by the opportunity. To show her gratitude, she made a special coffee with a secret recipe for Tane. Lotta, taking the opportunity to cause trouble, squeezed the coffee. The stepmother happily watched Tane flustered. It turned out that Cal, at home, wanted the deceitful woman to tell her stories, intentionally making the room chaotic. Tane couldn't help but scold his daughter. Cal, seeing her father's outburst, Cal felt both scared and sad.
She cried.
Tane could only hug and comfort her. He remembered his late wife's advice to take care of her. He blamed himself for not caring for his daughter after his wife's death. The uncle was heartbroken seeing Cal cause trouble at school again, hurting another student. Another teacher came to Lotta, asking what had happened, but she didn't reveal Cal's actions. This made the girl open up, and Lotta finally understood Cal's mischief was an attempt to have a teacher tell her stories before bed to get her dad's attention. The two arranged that when Mom was busy, Lotta would come to her home to tell stories. To tell stories to Cal, Lotta went to a bookstore, unexpectedly running into Tane there. They both competed to pick out books, acting as though they didn't like each other. Lotta was assertive, grabbing books, but when it came time to pay, she didn't have enough money. Tane, after paying, went outside and couldn't find Lotta, thinking she'd run off like a monkey. Then, he unexpectedly encountered Mon, the manipulative woman. She relentlessly pursued Tane, despite his efforts to keep his distance. Lotta saw this, and her dislike for Mon hardened. At first, she thought Tane was a good father, buying books for his daughter, but it turned out he was trying to connect with the stepmother for his daughter. Mon was using Cal's storytelling to get close to Tane, distracting him from the importance of books. Back home, Tane couldn't give his daughter the books, and the relationship between them grew strained. One evening, Tane went into his daughter's room and heard a sound. He found her talking on the phone. He asked the nanny about the person on the phone. He assumed it was Mon, but learned it was the teacher's assistant. The nanny said the girl was a wonderful storyteller and Cal loved her stories. This surprised Tane. Meanwhile, Sun walked in, heard Lotta talking, and teased her about doing this while working. Lotta explained that it wasn't part of her job, but She was trying to improve her relationship with her father by helping the child. Tane decided to take his daughter and Ty to the beach. Coincidentally, Lotta's family had the same plan. On the day of departure, the stepmother intentionally bought Lotta a revealing outfit.
Seeing it didn't match
her sister's usual style, she asked Lotta to change, but Lotta refused, not wanting to reject the stepmother's kindness. The stepmother also arrived and intervened, saying that this was the proper attire for the beach, since they were going to the beach, not a temple. Sun was speechless. There was nothing she could do. The stepmother orchestrated a seemingly chance encounter with Mr. NOP in the parking lot. Mr. NOP mentioned he owned a beachfront hotel. The stepmother repeatedly emphasized that he was a friend of Lotta's father, and Sun, without thinking much of it, politely greeted him, and they all went to the hotel. The stepmother, using the excuse of being afraid to stay alone, left Lotta on her own and stayed with her daughter. The two sisters took a stroll on the beach. Lotta hadn't relaxed like this in a long time. Unexpectedly, at that moment, they bumped into little Cal playing alone on the beach. Just then, Ty also arrived. Lotta, surprised, asked if this man was the little girl's uncle. The little girl immediately replied that he was. Lotta immediately guessed that the little girl's father must be Tane. As soon as his name was mentioned, Tane appeared. Lotta was shocked that the little girl she told bedtime stories to every night was Ant's daughter. Tane also didn't realize that his daughter's teacher was Lotta. They played on the beach. While back in the hotel room, the stepmother was making plans for the evening with Mr. NOP. Mr. NOP promised to pay more money if Lotta was still a virgin. This made her extremely happy. The stepmother went out to the beach looking for the two sisters and was surprised to see Tane and his family there. The stepmother wanted to create an opportunity for her daughter. It would be a good thing if her daughter snagged either of the brothers. So, she invited both of them to dine with them. Mr. NOP, seeing her bring strangers back, was displeased, worried this would ruin his plans, and scolded the stepmother. However, there was nothing he could do to have the beauty. He just had to accept it. At the outdoor dinner party that evening, Tane also noticed Mr. NOP's strange glances. Sun was busy in the kitchen, and Ty came over to help, even tasting the food she made. The two shared some fun, intimate moments. During the meal, Cal begged her dad to let Lotta sleep with her. She wanted to hear Lotta tell her stories. Tane felt the situation was a little awkward. Mr. NOP, seeing his prey about to escape, became anxious and urged the stepmother to stop Lotta from going to tell Cal a story. Cal, not getting her way, was understandably upset. Lotta, to comfort her, took her to the beach to catch ghost crabs, and the two played happily. Seeing that they hadn't returned for a while, Tane got a little worried and went looking for them, only to discover that his daughter was burning up with fever. Lotta, by her side, was also worried, thinking that Cal had been in the sun all day and then out in the evening breeze, and had probably caught a cold. Tane wanted to take his daughter to the hospital, but she refused, absolutely unwilling to go. On the way, they happened to pass by a pharmacy, and Lotta had an idea, asking Tane to stop the car so she could go in and buy some medicine. Thanks to Lotta's coaxing, Cal obediently took the medicine and even allowed a fever-reducing patch to be put on her forehead. Tane couldn't believe that Lotta, such a young woman, knew how to take care of children so well. They returned to Tane's beachfront hotel. Mr. NOP, having waited a long time for Lotta to return, drank continuously until he was drunk. He switched targets, attempting to grope Sun, but was caught by Ty and knocked down. When the stepmother arrived, she didn't care about her daughter's feelings and even offered to help Mr. NOP back to his room. When Mr. NOP woke up, he blamed the stepmother for ruining his plans. The stepmother could only appease him, massaging him while persuading him to take a shower first and then wait in his room. However, she didn't expect this predator to have no limit, turning her into an appetizer. Furious, the stepmother returned to her room, demanding that Sun quickly pack their things and leave. Seeing her mother so angry, Sun assumed it was because Mr. NOP had tried to grope her and felt reassured by her mother's love. At this time, Lotta was still at Tane's hotel and overheard a conversation between the two brothers. It turned out they had already seen through Mr. NOP's bad intentions and wanted to warn Lotta. Tane wanted her to stay so she would be safe, but Lotta refused. This only made her more worried about her sister and stepmother, and she insisted on returning. Tane drove Lotta back to Mr. NOP's hotel. Watching Lotta walk away, Tane felt content. Meanwhile, The stepmother and her daughter had left Mr. NOP's hotel and went to Tane's hotel to pick up Lotta. They were traveling in opposite directions, narrowly missing each other. Mr. NOP had been waiting for Lotta for a long time and finally got her back. He entered the room and locked the door. When Tane returned to his hotel and met the stepmother and son, who had come to pick up Cal, they realized Lotta was alone at Mr. NOP's hotel and panicked, quickly driving back. Meanwhile, in the room, Lotta appeared calm, her expression suggesting she had been waiting. She said she liked the type of man like Mr. NOP. When everyone rushed in and broke down the door, they were stunned to see Lotta had Mr. NOP subdued. She was holding a chair high above her head. Mr. NOP was desperately crying for help. It turned out Lotta had pretended to comply, but when he was off guard, she brought the chair down on his groin. It looked painful, but one hit wasn't enough. She delivered another blow to the same spot. This time Mr. NOP didn't get up. They moved to Tane's hotel. The stepmother, unsuccessful in her plan, looked dejected. She also noticed Tane's attitude toward Lotta and thought he liked her. But thinking about Tane having a daughter, she felt Ty was a better match for Son. She told her daughter to seize the opportunity with Ty, so both Tane brothers would be in her grasp. The next morning, the stepmother approached Tane, telling him about Mr. NOP wanting to use Lotta to pay off her father's debt, but pretending to be innocent, saying she had opposed Mr. NOP's actions. Tane promised to help pay off the $5 million debt. The stepmother couldn't believe how easy it was. Next, she planned to pair the four of them up, volunteering to look after Tane's daughter and create opportunities for them to be alone. Finally, the stepmother did something right. Ty and Son gradually developed feelings for each other. Lotta no longer resisted Tane and slowly began to get along with him. She was amazed by Tane's excellent surfing skills. The stepmother took this opportunity to connect the two, suggesting Tane teach Lotta how to surf. Tane carefully helped Lotta with the equipment and patiently taught her. Lotta was also eager to learn. Son and Ty arranged to go horseback riding, but the horse got spooked and Ty fell off. Seeing her two daughters and the two brothers so close, the stepmother felt her plan was progressing. Soon, Lotta could surf on her own. While enjoying her success, she had an accident. Lotta fell into the water, and large waves crashed over her. She floated on the surface, seemingly about to give up. Tane, seeing this, panicked and quickly swam to rescue her. Fortunately, he managed to bring her ashore. But by then, Lotta was unconscious. Tane hastily performed first aid, and they unintentionally shared a sweet, accidental kiss during the resuscitation process. Lotta finally woke up. At lunch, after everyone sat down to eat, Tane noticed Lotta wasn't there and learned she was still tired and in her room. He instructed the staff to prepare a meal for her. In her room, Lotta recalled the scene of Tane frantically saving her and felt a sweetness in her heart. She unconsciously touched her lips, remembering when Tane gave her mouth to mouth. Seeing the food he had prepared for her, she was overjoyed. Meanwhile, because the chef at Tane's hotel had called in sick, Son had to report to work earlier than usual. While she was worrying about how to get back, Ty offered to take her, allowing the others to continue their activities. Ty enthusiastically drove Son to the hotel where she worked. Coincidentally, a woman took a picture of Ty and Son together and sent it to Tane's friend. This woman was Ty's girlfriend. She immediately called Tane angrily, asking about Ty's background, revealing he had a girlfriend. But this woman was materialistic, only with Ty for his money. After Ty escorted Son into the hotel and was about to leave, he bumped into Mon. After a few inquiries, Mon learned Tane hadn't returned yet, so she canceled her plans with her friend and went to the beach where Tane was staying. She made the excuse that she was attending a friend's wedding nearby and, remembering Cal was there, wanted to visit.
Tane didn't think
much of it and invited her to stay and play. From the first glance, the stepmother recognized Mon's intentions. The two women engaged in a silent competition. Mon also realized the stepmother wasn't easy to deal with. As they were returning from the beach, they encountered a lost tourist. Mon proactively used English, hoping to impress Tane by helping, but the tourist turned out to be Korean and didn't understand her. Lotta, realizing this, spoke fluent Korean, helping the tourist find his destination. The stepmother couldn't help but smile triumphantly, mocking Mon's display, infuriating her. That evening, Mon, unwilling to accept defeat, started another charade. She used a hairdryer to raise her body temperature and pretended to be ill, calling for Tane. She deliberately created intimate moments, pulling at his shirt to initiate physical contact, but he still rejected her. When Tane left her room, he ran into Lotta. Seeing his disheveled appearance after emerging from Mon's room, he worried Lotta would misunderstand. He went to his daughter's room and, using her as an excuse, explained to Lotta that he had gone to Mon's room because she was very sick and in her near-fainting state, she had grabbed his shirt, causing the buttons to come undone, hence his messy appearance. After explaining, he said goodnight to his daughter and returned to his room. He knew why he felt compelled to explain, and after doing so, he felt relieved. The scheming woman, defeated, was furious. Lotta, recalling Tane's explanation, felt embarrassed. Meanwhile, Tai was still at odds with his girlfriend, feeling heartbroken and with no one to confide in. He found himself thinking of Sun. After work, Tai waited for her outside the hotel and offered to take her home. Sun, looking at his motorcycle, her eyes lit up with excitement, saying she loved riding motorcycles. She suggested he could go a little faster. Seeing her enthusiasm, Tai obliged, telling her to hold on tight, assuring her he wouldn't fall, and pulling her arms around his waist. Early the next morning, Lotta and Tane went to the beach to exercise. Tane invited Lotta to jog, but she refused. He taunted her, saying young people like her probably preferred staying indoors and were surely incapable of exercise. Lotta, predictably, fell for it, changing her mind and agreeing to a race to show him what she was capable of. As Lotta, now lagging behind, turned back, she encountered 3 drunk men with bad intentions. One lunged at her. Fortunately, Tane arrived just in time and rescued her, preventing any further trouble. Meanwhile, Mon woke up and couldn't find Tane. The stepmother appeared, constantly provoking her, adding to her frustration. At the same time, Sun left her house for work and found Tai waiting for her. He offered to drive her to work. Sun initially wanted to refuse, but his enthusiasm won her over. She mentioned she was planning to get breakfast. Looking at the roadside food stall, Tai remembered inviting his girlfriend to a similar place before, only to be met with immediate refusal. She claimed she would rather starve than eat such food. Her arrogance was clear, a stark contrast to Sun. After breakfast, Tane took a speedboat out to sea. Lotta, seeing this, was intrigued, and they played together, Tane showing her how to drive the boat. At first, Lotta was hesitant, but once she experienced the thrill of driving the speedboat, she loved it and didn't want to let go. Unintentionally, they went too far out, and unexpectedly, a problem arose. A large storm suddenly appeared, stranding them on a small island. Mon, knowing they had gone out to sea together, was furious, while the stepmother was quite pleased, hoping the storm would intensify. This made Mon so angry, she stomped her foot. Both Lotta and Tane were drenched, and Tane, in a very assertive move, hugged Lotta to warm her. Lotta was shivering. After getting out of immediate danger, Tane built a small fire. Lotta was curious how he managed to start a fire in such conditions. Tane explained that he enjoyed outdoor adventures and had survival experience. Building a fire was simple for him. He dried his clothes and told Lotta to change into them while he looked away, promising not to peek. Although Lotta didn't say anything, she was touched. Finally, they were rescued and returned safely to the hotel. Tai took the opportunity to visit Sun, informing her that although Tane and Lotta had an accident at sea, they had returned safely. Knowing Tai hadn't eaten, she invited him to stay for dinner. Unfortunately, they were out of groceries, so they could only have instant noodles. This didn't dampen their spirits, and they enjoyed their simple meal together. Mon, seeing Lotta wearing Tane's clothes, was not happy. The stepmother added fuel to the fire, praising Tane for being so caring. Back in their room, the stepmother questioned Lotta about what happened on the island. Learning that nothing had happened between them, she was exasperated, scolding both Lotta and Sun for being foolish and not seizing the opportunity. Back in her room, Lotta recalled Tane's care on the island, a happy expression on her face. At dinner, Tane only ate a little before returning to his room, and only Lotta noticed he had caught a cold. That night, Lotta went to tell Cal a bedtime story. However, she couldn't concentrate but also didn't want to show excessive concern for Tane, so she told Cal about Tane being sick. Then, using Cal as an excuse, she visited Tane. Cal was quite the helper. To help her dad's fever go down faster, she asked Lotta to wipe him down. Their feelings for each other grew through this shared experience. The scheming Mon felt threatened. The next morning, she dressed in a very revealing workout outfit and waited for Tane downstairs to go jogging with him. However, Tane came down in casual clothes, joining everyone for breakfast. Mon then learned that Tane couldn't jog because of his cold, feeling utterly embarrassed. But she didn't give up, ready to try another tactic. When everyone went swimming, Mon put on a sexy swimsuit, showing off her long legs, and invited Tane to swim with her. She thought that no matter how strong-willed he was, he would surely look at her legs. But despite all her scheming, Cal brought Lotto along, ruining her plan. Seeing the three of them like a happy family, the stepmother mocked Mon again, nearly angering her to death. Finally, the vacation ended, and everyone returned to Bangkok. But before they could rest, Mr. NOP showed up with his men to collect the debt. The stepmother, fearing exposure, hurriedly sent Lotta away and told her not to call the police. Lotta quickly informed her sister about Mr. NOP, who had given their mother 3 days to repay the debt. Only when her sister returned did the stepmother reveal that the loan shark was Mr. NOP. Sun finally learned her mother's scheme to use Lotta to pay off the debt. She condemned her mother's actions. At the same time, the sisters learned that Tane was willing to help pay off the debt. Lotta specifically sought out Tane to thank him for helping with the debt, promising to repay him when she could. Meanwhile, Tane approached the stepmother. He had learned that the debt was hers, not Lotta's father's. His condition for helping was to become Lotta's guardian. The stepmother thought this was too easy for Tane and began to formulate another plan. She told the sisters that Mr. NOP no longer wanted money, only Lotta. She proposed that if Lotta got married, Mr. NOP would lose interest. The malicious stepmother even plotted to marry off her 18-year-old daughter to a wealthy man. Using the pretense of protecting Lotta, the stepmother suggested Tane marry Lotta. Tai agreed with this idea, knowing Mr. NOP was someone even the police couldn't touch. Tane reluctantly replied that he would consider it. Lotta, still innocent and unaware, patiently taught Cal Korean. Mon, seeing Lotta frequently visiting Tane's house, became worried. So, she confessed her feelings to Tane, but he replied that he only saw her as his late wife's friend and thought they were better suited as friends. Mon feigned composure, saying she would let go, but inwardly plotted against Lotta. As expected, she approached Lotta and told her she was going to marry Tane. But what did that have to do with her? Lotta had no interest in such nonsense. She was just Cal's tutor. After careful consideration and realizing his feelings for Lotta, Tane told the stepmother. He agreed to marry Lotta. Lotta, after hearing the stepmother's twisted version of events, angrily sought out Tane for clarification. She misunderstood, believing Tane wanted to marry her as a condition for paying off the debt. She had felt Tane was genuinely kind to her, but now his true colors were revealed, shattering the newly built trust between them. Sun, from Tai, learned that Tane's only condition was guardianship. This sudden change made her certain her mother was up to something. She confronted her mother, who justified her actions by saying she only wanted the best for Lotta, finding her a well-off husband. But Sun still wanted to explain things to Lotta, preventing any misunderstanding. The stepmother stopped her, saying she would explain to Lotta, and adding that Tai also agreed with the marriage, telling Sun to ask him if she didn't believe her. Sun, of course, didn't trust her mother and called Tai, but he was having dinner with his girlfriend, who answered the phone and told Sun to leave Tai alone. It turned out Tai had reconciled with his girlfriend. Lotta, hugging her father's photo, was heartbroken. She had told herself not to be angry with him, but now his true nature was revealed. Deeply hurt, she expressed her hatred for Tane. At the same time, Tane wondered how the stepmother would manipulate Lotta into marrying him, especially since Lotta didn't love him. The stepmother deceptively advised Lotta, saying marrying him was better than marrying Mr. NOP. She told Lotta that all men were the same, only money mattered, and that if she hated Tane, she should marry him and take all his assets as revenge. When Mon learned about the impending marriage, she was furious. She had tried so hard to please Cal, but a younger girl had beaten her to it. That day, she offered to pick Cal up from school, attempting to drive a wedge between Cal and her father, suggesting that if Lotta moved in, her father wouldn't love her anymore. Fortunately, Tane had just spoken with Cal the day before, and she didn't fall for it, urging Mon to drive faster so she could see Lotta. Back at the house, Mon continued to act like the lady of the house with Lotta. Lotta, not to be outdone, retorted sharply, mocking Mon, saying she tried her best to win Tane over, but still couldn't capture his heart. That night, Lotta had a nightmare about Tane making advances on her, and she woke up terrified. Determined to do something, She went to the dressing room and put on layers of clothes, imagining Tane getting so frustrated trying to undress her that he would give up. She believed this was the best way to protect herself. Tane, seeing her wearing so many clothes, expressed concern, suggesting she turn on the air conditioning if she was hot. Understanding her apprehension, as the bedroom and study were adjacent, he told her he would sleep in the study, but they would share the bathroom, and he might enter at any time. Hearing this, Lotta still felt uneasy. Despite the air conditioning, she tossed and turned from the heat. Tane entered the room, shivering, and reminded her to get some rest. She fought sleep, only daring to close her eyes when she heard Tane snoring. But Tane was only pretending to sleep, to reassure her. The next day, Mon visited again. Knowing Tane never slept in but was still not up, she felt uneasy. Tane, having slept on the sofa all night, was yawning, stiff, and sore. Mon misinterpreted this as an excuse to get rid of her. Tane called Lotta in and gave her all the keys to the villa and a stack of signed checks, telling her to fill in the amounts as needed. Lotta thought he was testing her, refused his offer, and angrily left. Tane thought to himself, "Didn't you say you wanted revenge? To take everything?" The stepmother was furious that Lotta had missed such a good opportunity, exasperated with her foolish daughter. Lotta complained that Tane looked down on her, thinking she only wanted his money, but now she regretted her actions. She promised her stepmother she would seize the next opportunity. Meanwhile, Tai had another argument with his girlfriend after seeing her being overly friendly with another man. Ever since his girlfriend yelled at Sun had been avoiding Tai. Left with no other choice, Tai sought out Sun. He confided in her about his relationship troubles, asking her what she would do in his situation. Sun patiently comforted him, suggesting he simply pamper his girlfriend. Tai, constantly complaining to Sun about his girlfriend, remained oblivious to Sun's feelings for him. That night, Cal said she really wanted to sleep with Lotta. Lotta, worried about how to spend the night, suddenly had an idea. Just as Tane was wondering how Lotta would handle the night, Cal asked to sleep with her. Tane knew this was Lotta's doing and readily agreed, but told Lotta that Cal's mother always wanted her to be independent, so this was an exception. After finishing his work, Tane discovered Lotta wasn't in bed. She was crying in the courtyard, missing her deceased father. Tane brought her a glass of milk and gently comforted her. Lotta, looking at the gentle man before her, wondered what he was truly thinking. After following Sun's advice, Tai went to his girlfriend's place to make up, only to find her with another man. He angrily left. Early the next morning, Sun discovered Tai had slept outside her door all night and invited him in to wash up. Her mother, seeing them together, thought her fortune was about to change. That day, the stepmother visited Tane's house and found Lotta arguing with the housekeeper. She criticized Lotta for not acting like the lady of the house and ordered the housekeeper to prepare pastries for her, acting like the true mistress. Learning that Lotta had keys to the entire villa, the stepmother asked to be shown the storage room. Seeing the expensive collectibles, her eyes lit up and she wanted to take some. Lotta quickly advised her not to rush, as they had only been there 2 days, and Tane would surely know if anything went missing. The stepmother agreed, thinking there was plenty of time. She asked Lotta what other keys she had and reminded her to find a way to get money and give it to her. Their conversation was recorded by Mon, who took the recording to Tane. After he listened to it, Mon waited expectantly, a triumphant look in her eyes, to see Lotta kicked out. That day, Cal insisted on going to the amusement park, but Tane suggested a different location. Lotta thought he couldn't handle the thrills of an amusement park, imagining him on a roller coaster and finding it amusing, so she sided with Cal. At the amusement park, Lotta excitedly chose the thrill rides, thinking Tane would be scared and embarrassed. To her surprise, he calmly faced every ride, while Lotta was terrified, nearly scared out of her wits in the haunted house. She then learned that this was where Tane used to go with his late wife and that he feared the memories would be painful. Lotta couldn't help but admire this deeply affectionate man. Mon, using the pretense of bringing toys she bought for Cal, went to Tane's house. Learning they were at the amusement park, she acted calmly, saying she would wait and instructed the housekeeper to prepare dinner for her. The housekeeper informed her that Tane had told them to eat out. Frustrated, Mon left, taking the toys back with her. After their day out, Tane, Lotta, and Cal had dinner at a hotel and coincidentally ran into Sun. Seeing Lotta happy, Sun was delighted for her stubborn sister. Lotta brought Tane fruit, suggesting he avoid coffee in the evening. Tane, pleased by her changed attitude, felt a surge of happiness. Suddenly, the power went out, and Lotta screamed. It turned out Tai, knowing their marriage hadn't been consummated, had deliberately cut the power to create an opportunity for them. Tane gently comforted Lotta in the darkness. She stumbled into his arms. Spending so much time together, they were gradually developing feelings for each other. Back in her room, Lotta, recalling the incident, blushed and her heart raced. She quickly called her best friend, who misunderstood, thinking Lotta was sick. The next day, the friend excitedly relayed Lotta's supposed illness to Tane, who was delighted, eager to hear every detail of what Lotta had said. A leopard can't change its spots, and the stepmother's gambling habit persisted. This time, she won continuously, overjoyed, and planned to use the winnings to buy designer clothes. She was unaware that she had fallen into Mr. NOP's trap. He was still resentful about his ruined plan to have Lotta and was plotting revenge. Mon visited Lotta, asserting her dominance and playing the recording for her. She had previously asked Tane if he truly loved Lotta, to which he replied he didn't, but that he had his reasons. Mon told Lotta she expected her to be gone by her next visit, deliberately creating a misunderstanding about her relationship with Tane. The budding romance between Tane and Lotta crumbled instantly. Tane, noticing Lotta's drastically different demeanor, found it strange. Lotta sobbed. Even though she had agreed to the marriage for revenge, discovering Tane didn't love her still hurt. She hadn't yet realized she had fallen in love with him. Tane, assuming Lotta had feelings for him, now thought he had hurt her during the power outage. Both tossed and turned, unable to sleep all night. The next morning, Lotta took a taxi home. Tane, worried about her safety, had the housekeeper contact her. The housekeeper also sensed the conflict between them. Lotta and her sister enjoyed a rare meal together, but Sun saw Tai's girlfriend holding hands with another man. Their eyes met, and the girlfriend quickly let go. It turned out she was secretly seeing someone else without Tai's knowledge. She then approached Sun, begging her not to tell Tai, saying she would handle it herself. Sun replied that it wasn't her business and she wouldn't tell, but she wasn't sure if she was doing the right thing. Lotta eventually returned to Tane's house but kept her distance. A wall had formed between them. Tane, unable to bear it any longer, confronted her, asking if she was unhappy with him. "I won't let you leave until we talk this through." "Fine, do whatever you want. I'll pay off your debt, and you can go." The stepmother, now losing at gambling, stared at her empty wallet, dejected. Lotta wasn't following the plan. Sun, noticing her mother avoiding her lately, sensed something was wrong. Tai realized his feelings for Lotta were more than just protectiveness. His feelings weren't reciprocated. The next day, Mon visited again, pretending to miss Cal, annoying even the housekeeper. Tai asked her to help prepare a dinner party for his girlfriend. Mon, feeling important, arrogantly challenged Lotta. However, she had chosen the wrong opponent. To cause trouble between the newlyweds, Mon deliberately used her perfume and left an earring on their bed. The stepmother, having lost all her money, turned her attention back to Lotta. But Lotta told her she wanted to go home. The stepmother, assuming Lotta had acquired assets, was shocked when Lotta said she didn't want revenge anymore. Panicked, the stepmother, seeing Mon, immediately realized she was behind the rift, prompting Lotta's desire to leave. The two women argued. Seeing Mon acting like the lady of the house, preparing the dinner party, Lotta sought solace with her friends, reuniting with her secret boyfriend, Tane's friend and her senior from university. He had just returned from abroad and was shocked and disappointed to learn of her marriage. Tane was very pleased with the dinner Mon prepared for Tai's girlfriend, showering her with praise. Tai's girlfriend, mistaking Mon for Tane's wife, complimented them on being a happy family, boosting Mon's ego. After dinner, Tai's girlfriend complained to Tane about his long hours and low pay. Tane revealed that Tai had a share in all the assets he managed, but Tai wasn't ready to return yet. Meanwhile, Lotta and her three friends enjoyed a meal at a street food stall. Lotta, feeling relaxed and happy, stayed out late. Tane, feeling worried, waited for her in the courtyard. He was surprised to see a strange man bring her home. Seeing Lotta's happy demeanor with the man, Tane felt a pang of jealousy. They communicated through the housekeeper, who also suspected Mon was instigating their problems. Lotta, finding the bed messy, assumed Tane had slept there. Pulling back the covers, she found an earring. Recalling seeing Mon wearing it earlier, she imagined them together in her bed. She was so heartbroken. She went outside for some air, her thoughts drifting to her late father, tears welling up in her eyes. Tane told her that if she felt suffocated, she could invite her boyfriend over, offering to have the housekeeper prepare the guest room for her. Lotta, without explaining, simply said, "That's good. You don't have to hold back either. You can freely use your bedroom without being so rushed that you leave things behind." Tane was stunned, not understanding what she meant. The next day, Lotta's senior from the university visited her again, coincidentally running into Tane. After greetings, he commented to Lotta that Tane seemed polite and refined, not as he had imagined. He also knew Lotta had married Tane to repay her debt and offered to help, comforting her. Mon happened to capture this scene. Just then, Lotta received news and rushed off due to a friend's sudden appendicitis. Mon seized this opportunity to show Tane the video she had taken of Lotta and her friend. Seeing their closeness, Tane felt uneasy. Observing their daily early departures and late returns, a jealous Tane confronted Lotta. They argued, with Lotta emphasizing that she wasn't truly his wife. Tane guessed she had told her friend they hadn't had sexual intercourse during the marriage. He felt he needed to be more assertive. While Lotta was still confused, Tane pulled her close and kissed her forcefully, leaving her no room to refuse. Stunned by his action, Lotta was frozen, unable to react before he kissed her again. The scene was undeniably captivating. However, Lotta suddenly fainted in his arms. Lotta awoke in the middle of the night, recalling the kiss, her heart pounding like a trapped bird. The next morning, she went to the hospital and told her best friend about it. Her friend praised Tane for being a gentleman, not taking advantage of her while she was unconscious. The friend pointed out that they clearly liked each other but were hurting themselves. Tane, through the housekeeper, learned that Lotta's daily routine revolved around her hospitalized friend. Realizing his misunderstanding, he decided to visit her friend at the hospital, but his main intention was to see Lotta. Lotta, slightly embarrassed, put down the piece of meat she was holding. Tane finally found her. After greetings, her friend tried to send her home with Tane, but she adamantly refused, even closing the elevator door on him as he exited. Frustrated, Tane chased after her, pulling her aside. He apologized for his actions the previous night, explaining that he had been jealous, mistakenly believing she was out with her friend. Lotta softened a bit and asked, "What if I really was out with him? Would you be angry?" Anger was a tricky question. Tane hesitated, asking, "Don't you know why?" He stepped closer, took her hand, and turned her towards him. As they were about to share a passionate kiss, a security guard appeared, shining a flashlight on them. They then went to a fried chicken restaurant, enjoying chicken legs together, Tane abandoning his usual refinement and eagerly eating with Lotta. They had forgotten their previous discord. Sun, after agreeing to help Tai with his proposal, prepared a heart-shaped meal for him, despite her heartache, experiencing a mix of complex emotions. She was orchestrating a proposal for the man she loved, but not for herself. The specially prepared dish was served. Tai's girlfriend immediately spotted the ring, but her reaction wasn't the joyous one Tai expected. She deemed the proposal too simple, demanding a grander gesture, and criticized the ring for being too small, fearing ridicule from her friends. Tai was taken aback by her vanity. The proposal a failure. He drank heavily, still at the hotel bar even as it was closing. Sun, finding him, asked the staff to take him to his room. Sun stayed to take care of him. She tried to wipe his face with a wet towel, but Tai, completely drunk, kept pushing her hand away, insisting he wasn't drunk and trying to stand up to prove it. After struggling for a bit, he lost his balance and fell on top of Sun. Unexpectedly, he kissed her. Sun gradually stopped resisting, and they spent the night together. Seeing the pair, who had seemed like enemies the previous day, now reconciled, the housekeeper was bewildered. The next day, the three of them were like a happy family. Cal had a school performance, and Lotta promised to buy her a beautiful dress. While shopping, she ran into Mon, who continued to taunt her, saying they weren't on the same level. Meanwhile, Tane arrived at Tai's place and found him passed out drunk, clothes scattered on the floor, and him naked, assuming his conservative brother had brought his girlfriend back. Tai suddenly flashed back to the previous night with Sun. Seeing no one else around, he thought he might have been hallucinating, but the images were too vivid. He rushed to find Sun. Sun returned home and called in sick, lying in bed, tears streaming down her face. She tried to suppress her feelings. Despite rejecting Tai, it had still happened and she didn't know if she had done the right or wrong thing. The stepmother sank deeper into gambling, consistently losing. She continued to pressure Lotta, criticizing her for not acquiring any assets and enacting her revenge. Lotta remained silent, finding ways to end the calls. Left with no choice, the stepmother turned to Sun. Seeing her daughter crying, she showed no concern, feigning illness and asking for 100,000 for a doctor's visit. Just then, Tai arrived. Sun was happy but quickly regained her composure, not wanting him to know about the previous night. She told her mother to send him away, lying that she had spent the night with her. The stepmother's convincing performance made Tai believe her. Early in the morning, Mon arrived with a dress, hoping to win over Cal. Everyone, aware of her ulterior motives, disliked her more and more. Cal expressed her liking for Mon's dress, but then held up the dress Lotta had bought, saying, "My teacher said I have to wear white." Mon persisted, forcing Cal to choose, leaving the little girl confused. Lotta couldn't stand it, criticizing Mon for manipulating Cal for her own benefit. Mon followed Lotta into a room, and they argued. Mon accused Lotta of being shameless, saying that Tane had brought her to this house, to this very room, and asked her to think about what had happened between them. "Have I ever brought you to this room?" Tane's voice interrupted them. Mon, assuming he wasn't home, had spoken carelessly, unaware he had heard everything. Downstairs, Cal, dressed in a beautiful angel costume, asked Mon if she looked like an angel. Mon, enraged, snapped, "Don't touch me." She angrily berated the housekeeper for not informing her that Tane was home. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Tane and Lotta spent quality time together. He took her to meet Sun. It turned out Tane had reviewed the security footage and knew about Sun and Tai's night together. Sun, no longer hiding her feelings, admitted she liked Tai, but didn't want to ruin his relationship or make him feel obligated towards her. She begged Tane not to tell Tai, letting him believe it was just a dream. Seeing Sun's kindness, Tane agreed to keep her secret. Lotta, oblivious, didn't realize her sister's feelings. Meanwhile, the stepmother used Sun's money to pay off her debts and intended to quit gambling. However, Mr. NOP wouldn't let her go, driving her back into debt. Tai, troubled by the memories of that night, decided to seek out Sun to confirm if he had acted inappropriately. Sun, feigning composure, said, "If you had done anything to me, you'd have 2 black eyes or my fingerprints on your face this morning." Back home, Tane asked his brother if he liked Sun. Tai, stating he already had a girlfriend, couldn't answer, only admitting that he felt happy around Sun. Meanwhile, the stepmother stumbled home drunk, grumbling about everyone else's good fortune while she constantly lost. Sun finally realized her mother had returned to gambling, squandering the 100,000 she had given her. Elsewhere, Tane patiently taught Lotta to swim. The 3 of them played happily together, making even the housekeeper envious. Tane thoughtfully dried Lotta's hair. Witnessing his meticulous care, Lotta's heart softened towards him. The next morning, Sun packed her bags, deciding to move out. If she continued living with her mother, she would undoubtedly be sold off just like Lotta. She was utterly disappointed in her mother, who remained unrepentant, only worried about repaying her debts. When Sun left, the stepmother went to Lotta, lying that Sun had moved out because she disapproved of Sun's romantic interest, leading to an argument. Lotta was surprised, unaware that Sun liked Tai, who already had a girlfriend. The stepmother, lamenting her lack of money, finally received some from Lotta. Tai's girlfriend planned her own proposal, demanding he close the hotel for a day as the venue. The stepmother, with money in hand, returned to gambling, only to lose more and accumulate further debt. She approached Lotta again, feigning a serious illness requiring $1 million for surgery, asking her to request the money from Tane. Lotta, naive and worried, hesitantly asked Tane, surprised by his immediate agreement without hesitation over such a large sum. Tane told her he would do anything for her happiness and mentioned he had a doctor friend specializing in that illness who could advise on treatment. The stepmother, eagerly awaiting news from Lotta, was informed to go to Tane's friend's hospital for treatment, with Tane covering all expenses. Stunned, the stepmother could only imagine how it felt to watch the person you desired propose to someone else. Tai, following his girlfriend's elaborate plan, successfully proposed. Witnessing their happiness, Sun knew it was time to leave, to let go. She resigned from her job with Tane, wanting to work somewhere quiet. Tane, aware she was avoiding Tai, couldn't offer advice, only asking if she was sure about leaving while her mother was seriously ill. Surprised, Sun guessed her mother had tricked Lotta for money again. She confronted her mother, who criticized her inability to improve their lives or even keep Tai. Feeling despair, Sun became even more determined to leave. She said goodbye to Lotta, informing her that she and her mother had gone for further tests, revealing a misdiagnosis, and told her not to worry. As Sun prepared to leave, she ran into Tai. Despite her attempts to avoid him, he caught up and drove her home. He sensed something was wrong, feeling she was avoiding him. However, Tane kept his promise to Sun, not revealing the truth. That day, Lotta, reaching for a document on a high shelf, slipped and fell. Tane rushed to catch her, but they both tumbled, resulting in a broken arm for Tane. This led to Lotta caring for him, strengthening their bond and setting the stage for breaking down the wall between them. The stepmother learned that her creditor was Mr. NOP, who threatened to cut off her fingers if she didn't repay the debt within 3 days, leaving her in despair. Tai's girlfriend argued with him again about money. Meanwhile, Lotta meticulously cared for Tane, who, enjoying her attention, ate 2 extra bowls of food. Lotta also washed and dried his hair. Just as Tane was about to make a move, his daughter put a band-aid on his mouth, prompting him to kiss her instead. Fearing Mr. NOP's threats, the stepmother didn't dare go home, lying that she was having nightmares and wanting to stay with Lotta. Lotta told her she needed Tane's permission and asked her to wait patiently. The stepmother resorted to eating instant noodles at home, thinking, as long as I turn off the lights, they won't know I'm here. I'm so clever. Her self-admiration was short-lived, as Mr. NOP soon arrived to remind her she had only 2 days left to repay the debt. Tai went to his girlfriend's place to discuss their wedding date, but they argued again, and he left upset. As he was leaving, he received a message. It turned out his girlfriend, wanting to keep him for his wealth and status, had dumped the other man she was seeing. The man, enraged, sent Tai a video of their intimate moments. Tai finally saw the light, realizing he had dodged a bullet. They broke up. His now ex-girlfriend, driven by greed and vanity, confronted the other man, only to be taught a harsh lesson. Feeling down, Tai went to Sun's house, wondering why he always thought of her when he was troubled. He didn't know that Sun had moved to another city and changed her phone number, completely cutting off contact with him. Fearing Mr. NOP, the stepmother couldn't return home and wandered the streets. Overwhelmed by mosquito bites, she found a cheap motel and ordered food. Opening the container, she was horrified to find several fingers inside, confirming they were real. It turned out Mr. NOP had been watching her every move. This time, she was truly terrified. Meanwhile, Tane tried to kiss Lotta, but she evaded him. The next day, her old university friend drove her home again. Tane, once again misunderstanding their relationship, ate alone, refusing Lotta's help. Lotta had actually run away because she was afraid she would faint if they kissed. Finally, the stepmother, left with no other options, went to Tane, confessing her gambling relapse and the massive 10 million debt, begging for his help, claiming she would die otherwise. Tane wasn't surprised, having anticipated her relapse. He refused to help, saying he would only assist if the money was used for a proper purpose. Rejected, the stepmother turned to Lotta, confessing the truth to her as well. Lotta criticized her, but the stepmother claimed she had been tricked, not forgetting to badmouth Tane. This time, Lotta defended Tane for the first time, saying he wasn't like her mother described. She questioned whether Tane had truly married her for the money, telling her mother that he had always been respectful and hadn't touched her since their wedding. Hearing this, the stepmother hatched a plan. She went to Mr. NOP and revealed that Lotta was still a virgin. Mr. NOP immediately perked up, and they agreed to use Lotta to settle the debt, believing that knowing their opponent's weakness was the key to resolving everything. Lotta hesitantly told Tane about her stepmother's situation. Tane stated his strong dislike for gamblers, leading Lotta to mistakenly believe he also disliked her father, as she still didn't know the debt was from her stepmother's gambling, not her father's. Seeing her misunderstanding, Tane was about to tell her the truth when the housekeeper rushed in, announcing that Cal was missing. They checked the security footage and saw Cal leaving after greeting someone at the door, assuming it was someone she knew. Tane immediately thought of Mon. It turned out Mon, still persistent, had taken Cal to buy toys and then to the beach. Meanwhile, Tai had tracked Mon's phone and was on his way. Mon, pretending to want Cal to teach her how to swim, lured the child deeper into the water. While they were in the water, Mon, who couldn't swim, suddenly got a cramp. Cal went to get help, running into her father, who was frantically searching for her. Further out, Mon encountered a dangerous man who tried to assault her. Fortunately, Tai arrived just in time and rescued her. The ordeal brought Mon to her senses. She apologized profusely to Tane, and Cal, kind-hearted, asked her father not to scold Mon. Mon lied, saying she had gone there herself and that it was Cal's kindness that led to her rescue. After comforting Cal, Lotta fainted and was taken to the hospital. Tane, despite his broken arm, stayed by her side all night, only leaving when the housekeeper arrived and instructed them not to tell Lotta he had been there. Sun, feeling unwell the previous night, had taken leave and gone to the hospital, where she was horrified to discover she was pregnant. After some thought, she decided to have the baby. Returning to the hotel, the manager, seeing her prenatal vitamins, guessed the situation. Tane had instructed the manager to report on Sun's activities. He visited Sun and, after small talk, got straight to the point, advising her to eat more for his nephew's health. Sun immediately understood that he knew about the pregnancy. Meanwhile, Lotta, discharged from a hospital, was disappointed not to see Tane. She drank until she was intoxicated and stayed at her friend's place. Upon returning home, Tane met with Tai and learned about his breakup. Tai admitted that despite being cheated on, he didn't feel as heartbroken as he expected, even feeling relieved. He realized he loved Sun but had been afraid to admit it. Confirming their mutual feelings, Tane finally told his brother about him and Sun that night. That night, Sun caressed her belly, awaiting the arrival of her baby. The next morning, Mon visited Tane and sincerely apologized. They agreed to remain friends. However, Lotta witnessed this upon her return and mistakenly believed Tane was deeply in love with Mon, forgiving her even after she endangered Cal. Saddened, Lotta returned home, creating an opportunity for her stepmother to contact Mr. NOP. Meanwhile, Tai found Sun and proposed. Sun, angered, assumed he was only proposing out of obligation after breaking up with his girlfriend. Tai explained that he wasn't seeking her out because of the breakup, but because her absence had made him realize his true feelings. He had loved her for a long time but had suppressed those feelings due to guilt towards his girlfriend. Overjoyed to learn he was going to be a father, Tai hugged Sun tightly. He helped her resign from her job, and they returned home together. The housekeeper, delighted for Sun, whom she considered a good person, congratulated them. Tane also revealed the stepmother's debt to Sun, explaining he wanted her mother to face hardship and learn her lesson before he helped repay it. He hoped that becoming a grandmother would change her. Upon Sun's return, she couldn't find Lotta. A jealous Tane assumed she was with her old friend again, unaware that Lotta had been drugged by her stepmother. She quickly lost consciousness. Mr. NOP, a thrill-seeker, found having sex with an unconscious Lotta no different than necrophilia. He planned to take her to his house and wait for her to wake up before enacting his depraved plan to heighten the excitement. The stepmother worried he wouldn't keep his promise, but he reassured her, even promising a bonus if everything went according to plan. When Sun returned, she hugged her mother, saying she had missed her. Her mother, thinking Sun had a fever, was overjoyed to learn about her and Tai, immediately calculating the bride price. Sun informed her that Tai would pay off her debts and revealed her pregnancy, apologizing for the sudden news. Sun's mother was thrilled to become a grandmother, and Sun expressed her hope that she would be a good one and stop gambling. Lotta's stepmother suddenly remembered that Mr. NOP had taken Lotta. Not wanting her actions to affect her grandchild, she finally came to her senses, rushing Tai and Sun to rescue Lotta. Meanwhile, Tane also received news of Lotta's abduction and was on his way to Mr. NOP's house. Lotta woke up in a daze to find Mr. NOP looming over her. She wanted to escape but was too weak. Thinking quickly, she pretended to comply, feigning eagerness to please him. Her stepmother anxiously hoped Lotta would wake up and overpower Mr. NOP like before, even promising to offer 9 pig heads as a sacrifice if everything turned out alright. Tane was frantic, wanting to rush over and deal with Mr. NOP. Meanwhile, Lotta turned off the lights and tried to escape downstairs but was caught by Mr. NOP's men. He hit her, causing her mouth to bleed, and dragged her back to the room. He had lost his patience and become violent. Fortunately, Tane and his men burst in, overpowering Mr. NOP, who insisted he hadn't done anything to Lotta yet. Tane held Lotta tightly, regretting his carelessness and her endangerment. As they were about to leave, Mr. NOP suddenly pulled out a gun and shot at Tane. The The stepmother rushed forward, shielding them and taking the bullet, sustaining a serious injury. At the hospital, she sincerely apologized to Lotta, who said she wasn't angry and was grateful for her saving them. The stepmother entrusted son to Tai before passing away. Lotta's stepmother, after a life of chasing wealth and status, finally paid the price for her actions, never living to see the birth of her grandchild. Lotta refused to explain her relationship with her friend, strengthening Tane's confidence in their relationship. Lotta also learned that Tane had married her to protect her from Mr. NOP. As she was about to explain her relationship with her friend, Tane announced Mr. NOP's death and offered her freedom. Lotta mistakenly believed he wanted her to leave because of Mon. Though in love, they were trapped in a web of misunderstandings, causing each other pain. Tane finally gave Lotta some money before she left. She refused, but ultimately accepted it. He offered to have his driver take her, but she said her friend would pick her up. After parting ways, both were heartbroken. To comfort his daughter and himself, Tane took Cal to a beach resort. Meanwhile, Lotta and Sun went shopping for baby clothes and ran into Mon. A reformed Mon explained her relationship with Tane, leading Lotta to realize that Tane had likely misunderstood her relationship with her senior friend. While at the resort, Tane couldn't stop thinking about Lotta. He developed a fever, and Lotta was worried when she heard he was sick. She and the others went to the resort, and Tai entrusted Lotta with Tane's care. In his delirium, Tane confessed his love for Lotta, deeply touching her. When he woke up, Lotta explained her relationship with her friend. They finally cleared up their misunderstandings and found happiness together. A year later, Tane and Tai married Lotta and Sun, respectively, each finding their happy ending. This concludes the story. Thank you for watching. See you in the next movie.